And we are live. All right, guys. Tonight we're going to talk about EVs and why you might not want to get them if you're thinking about getting them. And not that it's going to be a definitive no, but I think some of the stuff me and Cody are going to touch on tonight might change some people's minds. And look, honestly, if you're watching this channel, you probably already don't want an EV. Especially if you're subscribed to this channel, you probably don't want an EV. But so for you guys, it might just be a stroke sesh over here. But I got Cody, and you guys know Cody from previous streams, right? Common Sense Cloud. He's usually over here talking about tech stuff with me. But if you guys didn't know, Cody's actually an ex-auto mechanic, and he actually has an automotive YouTube channel too, which is why I tagged that channel inside of the title as well. Do you want to talk about that channel real quick, Cody? Tell them what you do on it.
It's true. So that channel, it's called Motor Mouse Garage. And essentially right now, all I really have on it is stuff for my 80 series Land Cruiser, which is an old 97 Toyota Land Cruiser. And I basically pretty much built it from the ground up again because it blew a head gasket on me. But yeah, so I've been working on cars since I was like 19 years old. So yeah, I've been in and around the industry for a long time. So
man knows a thing or two about vehicles. Myself, not an auto mechanic, but I am a automotive enthusiast trademark. So I have an opinion. What was that? You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm actually EV certified through Jaguar Land Rover.
No way, really?
I used to, yeah, I was certified on Jaguar's first EV, which was the E-Pace, I believe. Oh no, I-Pace. Sorry, I-Pace.
Because the E-Pace that's a V8, right?
The E-Pace is a really small SUV.
Yeah, it's like the hatchback SUV, but it has one of the 5 liters in it, doesn't it?
One of them. I think the SVR version, or no, the R spec or whatever, some R version.
Yeah, the RS, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Well, we have extra credentials now because he's EV certified.
Yes.
Before we get into the EV nonsense, I just wanted to share something with you guys hopefully this will set the tone for the stream.
I don't know. Maybe he just needs some gas or something. We have gas in it. We have a gas can.
Babe, it's a Tesla.
But it's still a car. It needs gas. Like,
hang on. Hey, bro.
Yo.
Need help?
Yeah, you don't mind helping me get some gas?
What?
I told you. Yeah, that's what I said.
Hang on. Where's? Okay. What? Just to the gas. What do you need?
Well, because I can't go anymore, so I gotta get some gas.
But I don't understand. You have a Tesla,
Right? Yeah.
and you need gasoline.
Well, yeah, so we can get out of here.
What do you? Where? Is this? Well, obviously you don't have tags yet. Is it new?
No, yeah, brand new.
Okay. Well,
I've never let it run out.
You've never let it. What do you mean you've never let it run out? Like you've never let it run. Here, hold on to it. Yeah.
I've never used this before.
Yeah. It's inside, so it doesn't spill. Buddy, I'm not understanding though. Where's the cap on your Tesla?
Talking about this thing.
Yeah. That? How does it open?
Hold on, let's try it again. It's kind of dying.
Okay, bro, that's not gas. That's where you plug the car in for electricity.
Yeah, so that's how you charge the battery.
Okay, all right. So you know that there's a battery. What do you?
Every car has a battery.
Okay, all right. Okay, come here. Come out here. Help me understand, because I'm not getting it. You said that he needs gas, but you're at least on the same page as me. So
is that the new one? It's a hybrid or something?
So is it
I don't understand the problem. The car sometimes it runs out of gas, so you just gotta put gas
there's
in
a
the
big
car.
problem. Tesla's an electric car, right?
Yeah.
Fully electric.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what the gas is for then.
Well, because if you're fully out, you gotta
charge it. Okay,
Juice it up.
show me what you mean. Let's pop.
Yeah. So
Where's the gas going to go? Show me.
basically, it
On the
goes in
generator.
here. This is the then that plugs into here, and that plugs into there, and then you're good to go. It's a weird system.
My gosh, is that a gasoline generator?
Yeah.
All right.
That's how you.
All right. I think Cody, I think that one's like scripted.
Yeah,
But-
it was definitely scripted.
Yeah, but believe it or not, I actually have seen on Instagram and several other social media platforms, lots of people having to bring out generators to allow them to do what was staged in this video, right? And Cody,
It's a business.
Yeah, Cody, tell them about the
There's
business.
this guy I saw on Instagram. I can't remember. Well, I think I followed him, but I hadn't seen him post in a while. But essentially, he goes around in like an F-150 with a generator, and he has a phone number where you call him. And he's like, "Hey, like my Tesla ran out of juice." So he comes by with his F-150, plugs the generator in, and sits there for like an hour or two to charge it enough to like get it wherever it needs to go. I just thought this is hilarious. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And the fact that the guy was able to start a business and capitalize on that was just chef's kiss, dude. It was excellent.
Pretty smart of him, though. Pretty smart.
Yeah,
of him, man.
dude. I would not have thought of that.
Okay, so the first thing, and me and Cody are going to point out a couple things, you guys, to why we personally think EVs are just kind of a fucking scam. Dude, hey, real talk though, do you think that this whole EV thing is going to like continue at the same rate? I'm pretty sure Ford is like losing lots of money on their Lightning.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is the government got involved with EVs. Because I honestly do think like they're kind of cool. Like the fact that you can have an electric car is pretty sick. But the problem is the government is trying to throw money at the problem to solve it faster, right? And as you know, whenever the government throws money at something, it always makes it worse. Never makes it any better. So I think they're putting too much pressure on the electric car industry. Like I'm not anti-electric car. I'll probably never own one. However, I see the appeal behind an electric car, right? And it's just they're pushing too hard, and I think it's going to cause the EV industry to fail prematurely. Where if you just let it go and like let people just do their thing on it, probably would have happened a lot sooner, in my opinion. But yeah, it's not looking great right now because a lot of companies are losing money off of it. I know Toyota, I think they halted their EV program for a little bit. They still do hybrid, of course, but
well, so the CEO of Toyota a couple of years ago spoke about like the whole electric versus hybrid thing. He was like, to somewhat summarize what this guy said, because I don't remember 100% from what I read, but he was like, he was like, having electric vehicles as of right now is kind of like asinine and it doesn't work. And at Toyota, we don't want to do anything that isn't like, we're not going to make something that's going to be faulty. The Japanese people in general, I guess, are very prideful in the work that they do, right? Especially Toyota is known for what? Its reliability. They don't want to make something junky that's not going to be reliable. And that they were like, if we can find a way to do that reliably, we'll do that. But until then, we're going to focus on what we actually can do and does make sense to do, which is to make hybrids. And hybrids actually make sense because, I mean, hybrids run off of gasoline, right? Yeah.
And yeah, that's just Toyota's model in general. Like their whole like thing and why their vehicles get so reliable is when they release something that's new, right? New or might actually be completely new, they improve on that same design throughout the entire life cycle of the vehicle. So for example, like the Toyota 4Runner, like when it came out with like the 3.4 liter engine, which is like the third generation, right? They stuck with that engine like all the way up until like 2000 so from like 1996 all the way up until 2004, I think. So they stuck with that engine for a long time, and by the time they got to 2004 and they finally like deprecated the engine, only in the 4Runner, they still had it in a couple other vehicles. Is because they worked on that single engine and made it perfect, basically. They made it as good as they possibly could over the years. And they've done it with multiple other vehicles. That's why Toyotas share the same parts. That's why they share the same engine, the same transmissions, all that. So a lot of that is just their methodology behind how they engineer cars to last that long. And right now, I don't think they can do the same for EVs. It's just not, like I said, technology is not 100% there yet. It's a lot closer than it was maybe 10 years ago. But it's not anywhere where it needs to be for a production vehicle, in my opinion.
And not just like the technology for the vehicles either. It's like also like the
batteries.
Yeah, the batteries, the ability to like charge it. You know what else, Cody? And then you pointed this out like a year ago. That there's like a big off-roading grift that's kind of been like reborn in the last couple of years, right? And all these companies now are coming out with like new like off-road vehicles, Toyota included. They're redoing the Land Cruiser, right? So one thing that like I could understand if you were to want to have like a Tesla that you're only going to take to like 5 miles to work and back, you know, you drive around the city, it's not going to be a problem at all. But if you were to get, for example, like this, the F-150 Lightning, which dude, they ruined this truck's name. Like that was one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite vehicles as a kid, dude. And then they ruin it by making it a goddamn hybrid. But oh, look at this, a survey. Let's not take that survey. All right, let's see how much this thing costs, because this is a full-size pickup truck. I mean, this is on the F-150 platform, right? So, I mean, or it is an F-150, kind of, sort of. Yeah. What does this cost? A Pro? I don't know the difference between a Pro and XLT, but okay, a Platinum, 91 grand. I mean, if you're going to spend that much money on a truck, I wouldn't get an F-150 Lightning Platinum.
Yeah,
but
let's get an F-250 Platinum.
Yeah. Let's just a real Platinum, dude. But fuck.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend that's what you're going to do. And like, what do you use like a medium duty pickup truck for? You can use it for a lot of things. You could use it for, I don't know, camping. You could use it for work. You could use it to literally do anything that your heart's desire that requires you to go from long distance from point A to point B, and have the ability to carry things like tools, gravel, literally hay if you needed to, right? And a lot of people actually need pickup trucks to go into like rural areas and deliver things and do that kind of stuff, right? Where there probably isn't going to be a charging station. So what do you think about, like, what in your opinion, what would you, having an EV truck kind of like, isn't that kind of like
kind of defeats the purpose
at the same time? Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
I mean, you know, most people nowadays, they don't necessarily use a truck for work, right? But I think still the majority of people who purchase trucks genuinely do it for stuff like that, you know, like for work, for towing things and stuff like that. And if you take, I don't know about the Lightning specifically, but if you take something like the Rivian, right? I actually know someone that is picking up a Rivian next week. And he asked me, he was like, "Hey, I got it at the old price. You think I could sell this?" I was like, "Yeah, you'll sell it in a heartbeat." But the main issue with that a lot of people were pointing out, that got it a little bit earlier, is as soon as you start loading that vehicle down and adding weight to it, which is what a pickup truck is trying to do, the range is significantly diminished. So, you know, they boasted, they boasted like a 400-mile range on the Rivian, and then you load it up with like camping supplies or whatever, or just load the bed, it cut it down to like 200. So it cut the range in half. And it's like, I mean, yeah, that's the range. That's the range of my Land Cruiser, right? But I can go to a gas station and just fill up right away.
Yeah, or like, you could like fill up a couple roto packs if you need. If you actually wanted to go overlanding or something, you could fill up a couple roto packs and just like fill it up.
Auxiliary fuel tanks, stuff like that. So
yeah. So I don't really know, and yeah, I've heard that the F-150 Lightning has had like an awful issue with like losing range when towing. So, you know, I don't.
You're asking a lot from that battery and that system in general. Like, you're asking a shit ton. Like, without getting super nerdy about it, I mean, you're increasing the load on the motors, which is going to increase energy consumption, right? So it's just math at this point, or you know, actual science, whatever you want to call it.
Christian Soto with the burger emojis in the chat. Oh, okay. So that's the biggest thing. Like, my biggest thing is, like I said, I mean, I would own like me personally, I wouldn't, but if I just for some reason like wanted to have an EV, I would get it for like going to work in the city and coming right back, right? I most certainly wouldn't buy anything that I want to go use to like go fishing or camping or go take somewhere that has like no cell service or anything. That could just risk like cutting the range in half, like almost instantly,
dude.
right?
Think about the Southwest United States. Like, for instance, where I live in the Southwest, you can travel north for hours with no cell service and no gas station. Like, what happens if that happens? You know what I mean? What happens if you get stuck like in the middle of an Indian reservation where there's nothing there? You know what I mean? Like, no service or anything. Like, I've even been in sketchy situations with a gasoline vehicle because it's so far between gas stations, or even going, pretty much anywhere in the mountain time zone. You know what I mean? North or south, east or west. Like, there's some very large spans you have to cover there, especially if you're like didn't have a warm and fuzzy on your range and you're towing on top of that. Like, granted, I'm sure the car tells you like, hey dummy, you only have like 150 miles or whatever.
Dude, I've seen videos, TFL off-road channel.
Yeah.
Okay, so they did one a couple months ago of an F-150 Lightning, and they hooked it up to like a boat or something like that. I don't know what it was. Just like nothing crazy. It probably like 5,000 pounds, right? And they test the range, and it was like as they were driving, it like drops instantly, but then it would just like go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it was like what he said on the video was he's like, I don't even trust the range, because I mean you see the computers in cars do it with gas vehicles too. Sometimes the range isn't like 100%, right? Imagine with the EV. Yeah, it's going to be way worse.
Yeah, because I mean, there's no real way to like accurately predict that. You know what I mean? I mean, there probably is. Like, you could, I guess, get a topographic map of the direction you're going and all that, but they're not going to do that, dude. Like,
yeah, they probably don't.
They're just going to be like, oh, here's an estimate,
Yeah. Another concern that I think both Cody and I like know for sure and kind of share with is, and this is something that people don't really talk about a whole lot when it comes to regards to EVs. Everything EVs about saving the environment and like, being carbon neutral, whatever, even though like, let's not even get into that part, right? But it's supposed to be healthy and good for the environment, trademark. But is it so much? First of all, there's a lot of people saying that we don't even have the infrastructure set up to handle that much stress on our power grids. And if we have to charge all these vehicles and our power grids don't have the ability to handle that much stress, you have to think, well, how is it going to be sustainable then? Where does the rest of that come from? Here's an article from the Carolina Journal. And in this article, let's just look at this chart real quick. So the green box here, guys, these are EV sales, right? And then this yellow line is the sales shares prices. So, I mean, sales for EVs have been going up from 2022 to 2023, right? And they're predicting that it's going to continue at almost like a 5% increase each year up to 2030. I don't know if that's true. I think that might be bullshit, but we're going to see. The article says basically that if all this is done, like if there's that much of an increase in necessity for charging EVs in the power grid, because if more people buy EVs, more people are going to be charging them on the power grid, right? It might not be as sustainable with our current infrastructure as we think. And like, so you have all these car manufacturers making all this stuff, and it's like that to me, that would be like this. We're making all these gas vehicles, but we have like 5 gas stations in the United States. So like, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? Maybe we should like get the gas stations done before we should like actually start selling gasoline vehicles. I know that's an oxymoron, but you get what I'm saying. What do you think about that, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, so I actually learned not too long ago that California, depending on certain times of the day, your electricity bill or rate that they charge you is a lot higher than other times.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that until this week. So the person I know is buying a Rivian, or that is picking up a Rivian. He was like, yeah, apparently Rivian's having an issue scheduling the charging. So like when you plug it in, you can schedule when it actually consumes power to charge the vehicle. And that people, were charging outside of that cheap window for electricity. But the reason why they implemented that is obviously because, they're trying to save the power grid essentially. I remember
wouldn't more people just end
during
up? I mean, let's just say like 100,000 more people buy EVs, and they're like, oh, let's all do the same thing and be smart charging that time. Wouldn't it just like have the same?
It's,
right.
It's just gonna. Well, I think they break it down by region, so like different times, per region. You know what I mean? So they don't like, okay, everyone throughout the state is like 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. and that's the cheap version, right? Because it's just going to induce load during that period of time. So I think by section, it's chunked off like different times a day or for different people. But yeah, I mean, you look at the issues California had with just during the summer, like during this summer, just trying to keep the electricity running for AC and stuff like that. Yeah. Or even Texas with ERCOT in like, what was it, 2020, 2019, 2021, when Texas basically shut down because it like got a tiny little bit of ice.
2021.
Yeah, 2021. And ERCOT basically was like, no power for like, 2 weeks, dude. It was pretty bad. People actually like died during that because it was too cold. They like froze to death in their houses.
Yeah, that's kind of sad, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
I just forgot we got the webinar we got to go to. Cody, what are your other concerns, and then can you rank them for everybody, like top 5 concerns, with number 1 being the biggest concern with EVs?
Yeah, so I'd say number 5 for me is probably the power grid, right? I mean, eventually, hopefully our power grid would expand to support that. So that's like my least concern, but it is a concern. Number 4 would probably be the range and living in remote areas. Number 3 would probably be, all right, well, I'm going to skip to number 1. My number 1 concern, which is the point I wanted to make, was the fact that they, and by they, I mean the manufacturers, and by proxy, the government, right, can do anything to these vehicles. Like, I'm not joking, where they can send any type of software update over the air. It's called software over the air, obviously, and make any change they would like to your vehicle. Like there's no limit to what they could do. And therefore they can kind of, maybe take away your range. They could take away your ability to drive at all. They could take away whatever they want. It's just the amount of data they can collect off of it. Basically, it's like a monitoring vehicle that they then control your life with. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say you use the cap on electricity that you're allowed, and they're like, oh, all right, well, we're gonna like stop the car from charging, and you're not allowed to charge your car anymore because, I don't know, maybe you traveled more that week or whatever. So that's the number 1 concern that I think. Also, I guess number 3 is like time to charge in between road trips. So basically you have to plan around your trip to be like, okay, I have to dedicate a couple hours. Yeah, I have to dedicate a couple hours. And if you're like a maniac like me, you like to do as much traveling as possible in one shot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then number 2 is probably technicians like either not being paid enough or just not capable of working on them, because it's not a simple thing to do. Right? It's not a simple thing to work on an EV. There's a lot of steps. Some portions require 2 technicians or 3 technicians to actually like help with the process. So you're taking away from them. And technicians in the United States don't get paid salary. They get paid like per job. So more and more technicians are either not going to want to work on the EVs because they take more time,
or they just won't be able to.
Or they just won't be able to because, let's be honest, technicians are not the smartest people. Sorry, technicians. I know some of you are really good, but there's a lot of you that are not. So yeah, that's my top 5.
Number 1 point. I agree. Yeah, those are good points. I agree with you. Number 1 point the most too, because I mean, like, okay, that's not to say that they can't do it to like a combustion vehicle now. I mean, most vehicles have like fucking like 4 ECUs in them now. Like,
yeah, I mean, you could do the same thing to a modern combustion vehicle, but you're not going to do shit to my 97 Land Cruiser, dude. You're not going to do anything to it.
But the fact that it's an EV itself, it just seems, I don't know. It's just a little more sus. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if somebody wanted to, they could make it look like it's more of an accident, Paul Walker Jr. type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I didn't even
And
think
it's
about that
not
aspect.
and it's not just like, it's not just like tinfoil hat, like the government. Anybody.
Yeah. Anybody can, like, now your car is an attack vector. Like it's an attack surface for
Yeah.
hackers, dude. Like even modern like gasoline cars are, through their infotainment system, they're susceptible to hacking, right? If it has a connectivity of some kind of remote connectivity, it's vulnerable. And the automotive industry isn't exactly known for like being on top of patching vulnerabilities, dude.
Yeah,
like
no,
they're some of the
definitely.
worst in the industry. They're not IT companies. They don't care about that shit
Mhm.
until it actually opens them up for liability, right? So
Yeah, then they'll care.
that's another aspect that actually involves like, this space is now hackers have a whole new thing, So
and let me ask one more question because I know we got to go. But do you think that, let's just say it was an increase of 5% more per sales per year? Would you say that maybe the automotive industry and then the tech industry are kind of like getting closer together if that was the case, or no?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I'll make this quick, but when the Jaguar I-Pace first came out, there was like a pretty significant issue to where the contacts, which is the main battery, so they have a disconnect for the battery that is automated, right? It wouldn't actually open, so it wouldn't disconnect the battery, which is a big issue because if that battery thermal runaways, then goodbye vehicle and anything around it, right? I actually was on a call with a software engineer, I'm assuming from the UK, and he was literally changing configuration files in the vehicle's ECU to fix the problem. So he was debugging live, through my computer that I was connected to the vehicle. So that those industries, if it does continue in this trend, they might actually merge as one, or at least the technicians will be the lower paid version, and then they'll hire some remote software engineer like myself to be like, hey, fix this. Because I'm not gonna lie, I would do that job.
It'd probably be pretty fun. It'd probably be pretty fun. All right, guys, that's all we have for tonight. Short one. We got to go. So, see you.